Joe Schmoe here, live from the Woodward County Courthouse, where we just ended a longish day, about 7 hours. No, 5 hours. Boy, it felt like 7 hours. About 5 hours with a 20-minute break around lunchtime. She said 10, but she let us have 20. No electronics were allowed in the courtroom at all. Phones and laptops had to be off. So I couldn't tweet anything from inside the courtroom. That was different than the directive I got from her office a few weeks ago. So it was a surprise to me. So I didn't have any notepad or paper. That'll be the last time that happens. But we have really, really good news. We have really, really good news. Brayden Brown is going to trial. Unless he pleads out, there's going to be a plea hearing towards the end of the month. And we'll find out what his options are based on the arguments from his attorney today. I really don't know what the odds are of there being a plea deal in this case. But the family is ecstatic and elated. Buddy Leach, the prosecutor, did a really good job making arguments at closing over the specific individual charges and the elements that meet those charges enough to at least hold him over for trial. So he's still in jail on, I think, a $250,000 bond. He got held over today. The hearing got a little testy between the attorneys a couple of times, but that judge, she knows her stuff. Like she ran her courtroom. She told the gallery they had to be quiet, no electronics, obviously, and there were a couple of whispers here and there, and she put a stop to it and said, if I hear anybody talking in the gallery, I'll kick you out. But it started with some brief opening arguments, nothing really. No, the state just called their first witness to the stand. So that was Liz Taylor, London's grandmother, with whom London was living in Hooker at the time. And she testified, I don't know, maybe between that and cross-examination was maybe a half an hour. And then Hooker PD Reserve Officer Robbie Wayman came to testify. He's the one that showed up on June 9th when Brayden and Jose went to Liz's house. And Brayden told him that he had been with Liz over the weekend. Last seen her Saturday. He obviously lied and said she left with another man. But that's what Officer Wayman testified to, that experience responding to Liz's house in Hooker. Next was so Liz Wayman then was Under Sheriff Jason Johnston with the Beaver County Sheriff's Office. He's the one that picked up Brayden on that gravel road on June 7th, 5 days before London's body was found, a half a mile from where he got the truck stuck. And then he got interviewed twice, once on the 12th after her body was found, and then once again on the 30th when he was arrested for second-degree murder, which the hearing was about today. It was a preliminary hearing that was finding cause, seeing if there were enough cause, enough good arguments, enough evidence to hold him over for trial. And what the judge said in the end was, let the finders of fact determine some of the intricacies of the law and the weight of the evidence. So that's what's going to happen. It's going to trial. Then the longest testimony of the day was Special Agent Ryan Beck of the OSBI. Because there was a lot of evidence that had to be presented there as a part of his report that he compiled and gave to DA Buddy Leach. So some of that evidence was difficult for the family because they were up front. They wouldn't let anybody sit in the front row, but in the second row, I consider that the front row. The family was there, and there were crime scene photos that were passed around between the attorneys and the judge. and they didn't like flat out show them to the gallery, but you could kind of see them when they got put down on a desk or something. And that was a really, really difficult emotional time for the family because they haven't seen those to my knowledge. So I have pages and pages and pages of notes, and there are a couple of bombshells that I learned today that I didn't know despite all of my investigating and interviews and FOIA requests. I found out some new information today. So I'm gonna have to do a longer live later. Maybe later today, maybe I'll get some sleep because I drove 14 hours practically straight through last night. And we'll see after we go decompress from this hearing. I'm gonna go to dinner, get some food in me. It's 2:41. Do you still call it dinner at 2:41? Anyway, thank you all for dropping in to say hi. And look for a live later with a lot more details and a couple of bombshells about some of the facts in the case and some of the things that Brayden Brown said in his October 30th interview with Special Agent Beck. So everybody have a good rest of your day. Look for notifications. Thank you for dropping in. Thank you for the likes and shares. And we'll talk to you later. Take care.